Hey guys, my name is Gabby. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm gonna be filming my 7K Q&A. Woo! So I wanted to say a huge thank you for 7,000 subscribers. I can't even believe there's 7,000 people. It's just so crazy, and thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it because I love making YouTube videos and I love interacting with you guys and talking with you guys in the comments, and so I really do appreciate all of the subscriptions. I'm going to be answering some questions that people have submitted either in my YouTube comments or in my Ask FM that I put a link to, and so yeah, so I'm going to be answering as many as I can, and any questions that I don't answer for my Ask FM, I'm just going to be answering them in my actual Ask FM, so I'll put a link in the description for it if you're curious about it, but I'm going to be answering most of them. Let's begin. I'm kind of nervous. So I'm going to be looking on my laptop for the ones from the YouTube comments because I screenshotted them. The first one is from Yasmin's Bookshelf, and she said, if you could only read one book for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? I would probably say We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson, just because it is my favorite book of all time and I can't imagine not being able to read that book again. Jocelyn S. said, if you could write a letter to any book character asking any questions you had and would get a response back, who would you write to and what would you want to know? Damn, these are some good questions. I guess one that I'm thinking of right now would be I would want to write a letter to Kath from Fangirl and know more about her future. She's a character that reminds me so much of myself that I'd be curious to know how her adulthood played out. Another one that comes to mind would be autobiography, to write to either Tanner or Sebastian and ask them about their future, and I don't know, something like that. Alright, Claire D asked, I'd be curious to know, sorry, it cut off the question. It said, I'd be curious to know yourself in 15 years, what would you like to be/do? In 15 years? Let's see, in 15 years, I'll be 38! Oh god. I honestly don't know. I don't even know what I want to be doing next year. 15 years into the future is not even something I think about. I don't know. Terrell Bellinger asked, if you can cast a famous actor to play the role of Henry Denton in the big screen adaptation of We Are the Ants, who would you pick and why? And do you have any YA contemporary recommendations similar to Jandy Nelson's books? I don't even know if I would want We Are the Ants to become a movie because I wouldn't want them to ruin the magic of the book, but I mean, I know Nick Robinson just played Simon in Love, Simon, but I could totally see him playing Henry. Another one that's he's probably too young, but if they waited a while, I could see that kid Jared from the movie It. What's his name? That one Jared, the one that plays Bill, the main kid. If they waited a few years until he was maybe 16 or a little bit older, I could see him playing Henry for sure. I don't really know if I have any contemporary young adult recommendations similar to Jandy Nelson. The only one that comes to mind is Far From the Tree by Robin Benway, just because this one kind of has very similar family-driven themes that I'll Give You the Sun kind of has too, and The Skies Everywhere. This one is just about 3 adopted siblings. Yeah, I mean, this is the only thing that comes to mind for a YA contemporary that's somewhat similar to Jandy Nelson. On to the Ask FM actual questions. So the next question says, what's your favorite YA book of all time? My favorite YA book of all time is We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson. This is my favorite book of all time. Next question is, why do you wear your retainer so much? This is a question that I get all the freaking time, and I don't know why people are so obsessed with my teeth. Basically, one of these teeth in the very front isn't real, and it's attached to my retainer. So I don't want to take it off because then I'll look like I have a huge gap in between my teeth. I haven't been able to get the surgery to get a tooth implanted for realsies. Next question says, would you consider writing a book of your own? If so, what genre? Yes, I would love to write a book of my own, and the genre is something I've always been debating over and why I've never actually finished a book. I would love to write anything contemporary coming of age fiction, and whether it's young adult, new adult, or adult, I don't really know what I want to write. I would love to write a thriller or a mystery, but I don't know if I have enough ideas for something like that. But yes, I want to write a book so badly. The next question says, do you ever want to visit California? I was born and raised in California for the first 20 years of my life until I moved to Washington State. But yes, I would love to go back and visit California again. I've only gone back to California once since I've moved here for my grandpa's funeral last summer, and I miss it. I want to go back to California. Next question says, what do you think about Penn Badgley playing our beloved Joe Goldberg in Lifetime's version of You? Who would your dream Joe Goldberg be? And love your channel and you, XO Carly. Oh, thanks, Carly. I don't know how I feel about Penn Badgley playing Joe Goldberg in the You adaptation. He looks okay, but I'm not like super enthusiastic about him playing Joe. Like I'd have to see it obviously to really judge it, but my dream Joe Goldberg would have actually been Ryan Reynolds. When I read You, I just kept picturing like Deadpool's like sarcastic voice narrating. That's what made me like love that book so much, I think, because I was imagining like Ryan Reynolds. And so if he could have played Joe Goldberg, that would have been like so perfect. Yeah, and of course like I would have liked to see like Jake Gyllenhaal, because I love Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor, so I would have really loved to see him take on Joe Goldberg too. But next question says, everyone has Christmas time traditions. Do you guys have Halloween traditions though? Every Halloween we make these chocolate cupcakes, and then we put chocolate frosting, and then we put coconut, but we dye the coconut green, and then we get a little tombstone and we stick it in the cupcake that says like RIP on it, so it looks like it's a cemetery, and we just make a bunch of those cupcakes and put the tombstones in the green coconut grass, and it looks like a graveyard. Yeah, and we just listened to that Ghostbusters song. Next question says, where can I find the key to your heart? Next question says, whom have you hugged today? Literally no one. My dog. I hugged Phoenix this morning. Next question, what's your favorite place to think? I guess my bedroom or the shower. I don't know. Next question says, favorite Taylor Swift album and song. I can't pick a favorite Taylor Swift album and a favorite song. I don't know, I tend to listen to 1989 and Red the most. Lately, my favorite Taylor Swift song has been Delicate, because I just play it like literally every single day. But like of all time, like my favorite Taylor Swift song, like I don't really know. I have like favorites from each album. Favorite from her first album is probably A Place in This World. Off of Fearless, I think Forever and Always. Speak Now I really like Better Than Revenge. Off of Red, I have like a million favorites on Red, but maybe the song Red or State of Grace. And off 1989, I love Style. I love Wildest Dreams. Dude, it's so hard to pick your favorite Taylor Swift songs, okay? It's so hard. I don't know. Next question says, how do you like working at Chipotle? It's actually been a year since I've quit Chipotle. I worked for Chipotle for like a year and a half almost. I used to like working for Chipotle. I used to have a really great manager, and then we changed management and I didn't like my new manager, and it kind of like ruined the whole experience for me. And I hated working at Chipotle because I hated the hours. Like Chipotle had you start at 6 in the morning sometimes, make everything fresh in the morning. Like you have to make like literally all the chips, salsa, guac, like all of the stuff is made fresh in the morning. So they would schedule you like 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. shifts, and I am not a morning person. Hated getting those shifts, and I would always get them every single Saturday and Sunday, like every weekend for like months. And so I got fucking sick of it and I quit. Didn't like working at Chipotle, but I know that's not the case for everyone. I know that those shifts are probably very ideal for other people, but I'm not a morning person, so it was like very miserable for me. And the closest Chipotle to me is like 30 minutes away, so I would have to get up super early just to get there. The next question says, how many siblings do you have? Just the one. Sure, you've seen her like a million times on this channel. She's like my best friend, so. And the next question says, how did you and your sister get so close? I mean, we've always been close ever since we were kids. We were always like friends. Like we were never those siblings that like hated each other. I mean, unless we like stole each other's clothes or something. Been like really close ever since we've moved to Washington. We've only really had each other, you know, because we don't like know anybody in Washington. The next question says, are you allowed to cuss in your house? Yes. Not when I was in high school, like not when I was younger, but like since I've become an adult, my parents don't fucking care anymore. We're not like one of those houses that's like, oh my god, bad language. Next question says, do you recommend going to community college before university? Yes. 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 I know it's probably not like the same experience that you're looking for, because now that I'm in university, I can see that it's a completely different experience than community college, but you save so much money. And if you don't really know what you want to do, like me, for the first like 2 years of college, then don't waste all of your money at a university. It's so expensive. Next question says, do you have a close relationship with your parents? Yes. I'm very close with my parents. I feel like they're very supportive and that I can tell them anything. I'm very, very, very lucky. Next question says, what's the best thing about living in Washington? I would personally say the weather. Not true for most people, but I love the rain. I love like the cloudy, gloomy weather. I love it. I don't know why. Next question says, what kind of transportation do you use most often? I always use my car unless I'm the bus to college. Question says, what's the last photo you took on your phone? Post it. It was probably Phoenix, but I'll put it here. Next question says, post the last screenshot you took. It was probably a picture of like Ryan Gosling or something. Oh, the last screenshot I took was actually the screenshot from the email. Jenna Dewan is going to produce Christina Lauren's book Roomies into a movie! So that's the last screenshot I just took this morning because they sent out an email about it and I was like, holy fuck! Next question says, what is one thing you regret? I regret spending so much time stressing about the little things, and it's something that I still do. So I don't know what that says about me. Next question says, what is your opinion on internet friends? I love having internet friends, and I'm probably closer to some of my internet friends than I am to people in real life. Like Dylan is one of my BFFs, and we're friends because of the internet, and I love him. We talk almost every single day, and it's like, because of technology, we're able to have internet friendships that are so real. Do you have a favorite dog breed? I mean, I love all kinds of dogs. My first dog that we ever had was a miniature schnauzer, so those definitely have a special place in my heart. And of course, my baby pugs that we just put down. So I love pugs too. I've always been very fond of like little Boston Terriers or like cute little dogs like that, but I love, like my dog now is a German Shepherd, and I love having a German Shepherd. She's my life. What is one place you would love to travel to? I want to travel everywhere. I've traveled like some, but I've never traveled outside of the United States. I would love to travel. I want to travel to Australia. I want to go to Italy, France, Tokyo, everywhere. I want to travel more. Next question says, book tropes you're sick of seeing in young adult. In young adult books, I hate seeing like very cliche one-dimensional characters, and I see this in so many young adult books. I feel like there's a lot of young adult books where these characters are just so cliche and like not real, like they just don't feel like real people. They just feel like the author's imagination of what a teenager behaves like. It drives me crazy when I read books like that. Like, I don't know how to explain it right, but next question says, what should authors write about? What are stories you would like to read and people you would like to see being represented more? You know, something that I've been like looking for that I don't see a lot of is female romances. I still feel like there's not a huge representation for like female like lesbian romances. I can only think of like very few. Next question says, what is something you always tell people but they don't believe you? Probably the fact that I'm 23. Everybody's always like, no, you're like 15. The next question says, what have you always wanted and did you ever get it? Always wanted a Canon camera. And like, I just went ahead and got it for myself last year. It was like one of the best decisions I ever made. Next question says, who is the last person you met? I don't know if, does this mean like celebrity-wise? The last celebrity I met was the Jonas Brothers in 2013. I was a huge Jonas Brothers fan for like 7 years. Like literally my entire like teenagehood, I was hardcore a fan of them, and I met them on their last tour. It was okay. It happened. Next question says, favorite singers? I like Taylor Swift, Casey Musgraves, Dagny, The Weeknd, Drake, Vance Joy, Jose Gonzalez, The Neighborhood, Sufjan Stevens, I don't know if I said that right, Sufjan Stevens, Lord Huron, and yeah, those are the first that come to mind, but I can put a link in the description for my Spotify. And next question says, could you do another video about your favorite quotes, please? Yes, I'm going to do another video about my favorite quotes soon. Next question, do you know any other languages? Sadly, no. I took 3 years of Spanish in high school, and I barely know anything. Next question, what do you do when you're feeling sad and you're in a reading slump? Lately, I've just been like trying to take a break from reading if I get to the point where I'm in a reading slump and I'm really unhappy. I think sometimes rereading a favorite book can help with that, or just like taking a break and just like watching Netflix or like doing something else. Next question, do you believe in afterlife? Not really. I'm not a religious person, so I don't believe in like an afterlife in that sense, but I just kind of believe that when we're dead, we're dead. That sounds so harsh, but like, it's like in that one stand-up comedy how Bill Burr was like, oh, do you remember before you were born? No, well, it's kind of like that. Next question, what would you like to do before you die? I would like to write a book, like a full book that's finished and I'm proud of it. Next question, what is your dream job? Full-time author is a dream job, but realistically, I would like to work for a book publisher of some kind or be a book editor. Anything obviously like related to like books and that whole industry is my dream job. Like that's what I would love to be doing. Do you prefer to read indoors or outdoors? Indoors. I don't even remember the last time I read outdoors. It's probably never happened. Who is the most relatable character you've ever found in a movie or book? In a book, probably Kath from Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell is my most relatable character. But in like media, I think Jane from Jane the Virgin, I know this is a TV show. Jane is like so fucking relatable. I just love her so much, and she's probably the most relatable character I've ever seen in like a TV show or movie. Question, is there a book that you don't like but everyone else does, and is there one you like but everyone else doesn't? Think of one that I like that everybody else doesn't, and that's The Love Interest. I mean, I don't like love it, but I liked it more than a lot of people seem to. Everybody seems to fucking hate that book. That I didn't like that everybody else likes. I mean, a lot. I have a very unpopular opinion on a lot of books, so I mean the main one that comes to mind is Me Before You. Next question, did you read a lot when you were younger, and if so, what did you read? Yes, I read a lot when I was a kid. I read books called A to Z Mysteries by Ron Roy, Goosebumps and Nancy Drew and Junie B. Jones even when I was like really little. A Series of Unfortunate Events. I read that whole series throughout like elementary school. Next question, how do you get so many books from publishers? I collaborate with a lot of publishers. I ask for a lot of books sometimes. I request books on NetGalley. I'm an ambassador for Book of the Month and Page Habit. What do you like about new adult/adult romance novels that you hate in young adult ones? This is like something that I don't really know how to explain. Like, I don't know what makes me so irritated sometimes with young adult romances. I guess it's because there's a lot of times when I read young adult romances and it just feels so insta-love, and I hate that. I like that in new adult and adult romances normally the characters are more like independent and they have more of a sense of their own identity because they're a little bit older. But I mean, of course, there are some of my favorite books of all time are young adult romantic books, so there's exceptions for sure. Next question, top 3 favorite authors and one of your favorite books from each of them. I'm always like changing my opinion on my favorite authors as I'm like reading more and more books, but 3 of some of my favorite authors that come to mind right away is like Tarryn Fisher, Taylor Jenkins Reid, and Rainbow Rowell. So my favorite book from Tarryn Fisher is Atheists Who Kneel and Pray. This is a new adult romance. It's just like one of my favorite books of all time. Favorite book from Rainbow Rowell is Fangirl. As I just said earlier, Kath is like my most relatable character of all time. And my favorite from Taylor Jenkins Reid is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Next question, what makes dogs better than cats in your opinion? Well, for one, I'm like super allergic to cats. I can't even have cats even if I wanted to, but dogs are so much more loving and like happy to see you and have so much energy. I've always loved dogs. Next question, why do you read LGBTQ plus romance novels? I read LGBT romance because I want more diversity in the books that I'm reading, and because I honestly kind of get sick and tired of reading like male and female romances like all the time, because like romance is one of the most read genres for me, so I want some variety in my romance. Do many of your family/friends read as well? No, sadly, no. I'm the only person in my family that reads. Next question, who are some of your favorite booktubers? PS, love your vids. Thank you. Some of my favorite booktubers are, the 2 that come to mind for sure are Books and Lala, Kayla's channel, I'll put a link in the description for her, and Emily Fox. Next question says, where did you find this quote? You didn't read to escape the world, you read to discover it. Brittany C. Cherry's book, The Silent Water. Next question, does your sister read as much as you do? No, my sister doesn't read as much, unfortunately. I would love her to read more, but she's read some books that I've She did read Atheists Who Kneel and Pray because I told her it was fucking great and she loved it. Next question, what places in the US would you like to travel to? What places are on your bucket list in the US? I have been to New York. New York is one of my favorite places in the United States, and I want to go back so bad. I've also been to Hawaii, and that's one of my favorite places too. I went to Oahu and Kauai on separate trips. I would love to go to Boston, Chicago, New Orleans, even Portland, Oregon, and San Francisco. I've never been, but I'm from Southern California, so San Francisco is still a pretty far commute. So I've never been, and I really want to go to any of those cities. Next question, who are your favorite new adult authors that you haven't read yet? I would like to read something by Penelope Douglas, and R.S. Gray, and Mariana Zapata, sorry, fuck. I'd like to read something by her too, and I haven't read anything yet. So next question, how do you define happiness? My definition of happiness would be staying in bed all day with hot coffee and a good book. Next question, hey Gabby, tell us an embarrassing date story. I don't think I really have any embarrassing date stories, unfortunately. All of my dates have been very mild. Next question, do you have any new adult recommendations similar to Colleen Hoover's books? Any of Taryn Fisher's new adult romance are pretty good and somewhat similar to Colleen Hoover's books. Emma Scott or Brittany C. Cherry's books are similar to Colleen Hoover's books. Next question, didn't we match on Tinder? No. I don't even have a Tinder. Next question, what psychological thriller would you recommend for a beginner to the genre? I think Gone Girl would be a good one if you haven't read Gone Girl. I know that was the first psychological thriller that I read that got me into the genre. Next question, what's a book that changed your life, views, etc.? I want to say We Are the Ants. Like, I've made an entire video about books that have like changed my life, so I can put a link in the description if you want to see that, but I would say We Are the Ants because I just felt a change in my life after I read We Are the Ants. Like, the way that I viewed the world was slightly different. Next question, favorite book you had to read for class? I've almost hated any book that I've had to read for class except for The Girl with All the Gifts, which is a book that I just read this quarter for my class. Next question is, have you ever bought a book only because you thought the cover was beautiful? Can you show us your favorite book covers? This is one that I bought because of the cover and I ended up loving it, and I just love this like city and this one, I would have read this one anyway because it's Christina Lauren, but I definitely would have bought this because of the cover. Fucking gorgeous. I love it, and I love that it's like a book. How do you manage to read all these books while juggling your job and studies and never get into a reading slump? And if you do, how do you get out of it? I honestly don't really know how I manage to read like books while I'm working and in college. It's kind of chaotic, to be honest. I really don't have much of a social life, so I think that that definitely contributes to how much I'm able to read. Next question says, are you getting paid for your YouTube videos? And no, I'm not. I actually just do this because I like to do it. But I'm not getting paid, sadly. I'm not even getting monetized. How many hours a day do you read on average? I don't read like every single day, but when I do, probably like 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours. What else do you do when you're not reading? Always either reading, working, or studying, or in classes, or just watching Netflix or going to movies or something. Next question, what turns you on about the same or opposite sex, non-sexual? I think like beautiful eyes is like something that definitely catches my eye right away. Next question, do you like Camila Cabello and or Fifth Harmony? Yes, I love Fifth Harmony and Camila Cabello. And she's opening for Taylor Swift in a couple of weeks when we have my Reputation concert. I'm so excited. Next question, would you relocate for love? I don't know. I honestly don't know if I would be able to because I don't know if I'd be able to live apart from my family. Next question, which word or phrases do you most overuse? Definitely lately it's been dope, but I go through phases, like different word phrases. Like I love the word douche canoe. Like last year, I was using that like all the time. I'm sure my family could think of a million other ones that I overuse. And the last question says, how do you treat people in general? I like to think I treat people well. I mean, I don't know. I treat people how they treat me. If they treat me with like kindness and respect, then I do the same for them back. That was probably a long ass Q&A. Thank you guys so much for all of your questions. If there's anything else that you want to ask me that you're just curious about, I will probably stay active on my Ask FM. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you guys next time.